Hey everyone, and welcome to Backseat Sports. I'm Josh, and that is Caleb. And guys, boys and girls, everyone, sigh of relief for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. A close one on Saturday in Memorial Stadium. Nebraska barely snuck past the Wildcats. It was a wild one in Memorial Stadium. What's going on, Caleb?
Josh, only the third walk-off win in 96 years in Memorial Stadium?
Yeah, that's
wow.
weird.
2 of the 3 being to Northwestern. So,
Great.
man.
Nice.
It's always a close game. Josh and I figured
literally.
it wouldn't be finally, that our offense would get rolling. That did not happen. Well, it did like the first half, and then it just like died. A tragic death in the second half. Only scored 3 points. Man, so much happened. Obviously, Adrian Martinez went down. Spielman went down. Mo was suspended for a half, which we didn't know about, and then went down. But Wan'Dale Robinson, next man up, as he said, he really stepped up and had a great game for us. And obviously that catch at the end of the game thrown by Vedral to set up the field goal. He was really the difference maker for us against Northwestern.
Some positive notes. I mean, we're 8-4 in our last 12 games. Losses, obviously, 2 losses to Ohio State, lost to Iowa, of course, and then lost to Colorado. At this point last year, we were 0-6. We're 4-2 now. So those are the positives you have to look at when looking at this game. We were coming in expecting a lot easier of a game than what we got. A win is a win at the end of the day, and we stay alive for another week to play against Minnesota, which we're obviously going to be talking about in our next video coming out, predictions video for Minnesota, but that's for another day. We get to dub, and that's what matters the most, but even though it wasn't pretty.
No, it was not pretty whatsoever. I mean, when you hold an opponent to 10 points, you really think you should win, which we did. Unlike Iowa, who held an opponent to 10 points and lost. Everybody will give a...
Losers.
That's right.
Wow.
You suck. You suck.
Embarrassing.
Losers, all of them. Every opportunity, you got to make fun of Iowa. That's for sure. We held an opponent to 10 points, which is great, even though, yes, Northwestern, Josh and I talked about it, and their scoring offense, they're just bad. You know, they did not look good whatsoever. Their stats were terrible walking into this game. But hey, we even held them even below their average of 15.5 points per game. Made them look even worse than they were. So, good on our defense. We saw a lot of good things from them. Cam Taylor forcing fumbles. And our defense has, again, been the highlight of the season, which is
and come up clutch when it needs to, you know?
They really stepped up big for us yet again. You know, Mo Berry said, like, that's kind of their job. They're the protectors. That's what they love to do, and they love those competing moments. So, you know, Ben Stilley came in. He did a good job, got our 1 sack of the game as well, and he really did some good things. On the defensive side, has looked just, again, solid, and they did what they're supposed to do. They really stopped Drake Anderson pretty well in this game. It was not really till the second half that Aiden Smith started to look decent.
Man, I mean, when we saw that Aiden Smith was starting the game, I think all of us were feeling pretty good in that first quarter. I mean,
I was looking at my shot.
Oh my word! It felt like there was no chance Northwestern was going to get anywhere against this defense. No. Of course, the offense started off fairly well in that first quarter, and things just came to an absolute halt. Stall after stall, like we said in the last video, stalls all over the place. The offensive line really struggled again. I mean, again, Cam Jurgens, not a great game.
The snaps returned. The bad snaps.
Yep, the bad snaps returned, and it affected Martinez greatly in that first half, second quarter, and third quarter before he went out. Man, it's just so frustrating, man. Game after game, we think that the offense is going to turn it around. The offensive line is going to find a little bit of rhythm. We're going to turn the corner and return to where our offense should be or should have been coming into this season, and it's just not happening. A lot of it falls on the offensive line. We're going to keep beating that dead horse until the end of the year, it seems like. And I'm not convinced at this point that we're going to get any better if this offensive line doesn't find a way to actually improve. And from what we've seen, I don't know if there's going to be any type of way for this offensive line to make a big jump forward this season, which is why I'm a little hesitant moving forward now after a game where we're struggling against what should have been a pretty beatable defense. Obviously, they played well against more one-dimensional offenses. But again, UNLV truly did play fantastic offensively against Northwestern and basically exposed them in that first half of their game before they got the turnover bug. And I thought for sure we were going to be able to do that in this game. Yeah. But we were not able to. Martinez wasn't able to capitalize. The offensive line struggled. We weren't able to effectively run the ball, and we had to rely on 2 big plays from Wan'Dale Robinson to get the ball down the field.
A big thing that Josh and I have been harping on all year is third down percentage. How often are you converting on third downs is a big tell. And Nebraska, again, just did a bad job. We were 6 of 19, 32%, which is really bad. You're not going to win many games when you're that low. You know, Nebraska, on the other hand, our defense did a good job holding Northwestern to 5 of 16, only 31%. We did a good job on that side, but our offense was doing such a bad job, and a lot of it, for the first time, I really think Josh and I put some blame on the play calling, especially in that second half. It seemed really conservative to us. It seemed really safe. It looked like we were playing not to lose again. And when Mo Washington came in, he did not look 100% healthy. And we just kept rushing him up the middle. He was getting negative plays. And they were stalling out drives when there was no need, and we were finding success other ways as we were just punting away. Nebraska had 9 punts. I mean, come on. Like, insane.
I know. I really thought we were going to come in this game and really test the secondary of Northwestern. They looked beatable these last few games. And not to mention, they really haven't been tested that badly this season, considering they played against 2 of the worst passing offenses in the Big Ten. I thought we were going to come out, take some shots downfield, really test the secondary a lot, and we just didn't. I think everyone was expecting JD to have some pretty big opportunities in this game. They didn't really come in the first 3 quarters before we got hurt. Again, we just really struggled to get the ball to the outside. We tried a handful of times on those screen passes to get the ball to Wan'Dale and everyone else, but it just the blocking on the outside from the receivers wasn't effective. It didn't get the job done most of the time. The screens just did not get off the ground.
And Northwestern was really prepared for it too, by the way.
Yeah, they were. I mean, again, we did say Pat Fitzgerald would come in prepared and have his guys ready to play a good game. They didn't make any mistakes. I mean, there wasn't a turnover in the game until the fourth quarter. Both these teams, Nebraska and Northwestern, were, again, in the 120s in the nation in turnovers per game. So everyone thought that this game was going to have multiple turnovers, potentially 3 or 4 from each team. And there's only 1 in total in the whole game. So that was really, really surprising. But to bring it all back again, the play calling was extremely conservative. Playing against a defense that we both thought was beatable.
Had holes,
Had holes. We could make some things happen. I just can't believe we didn't take any shots downfield. Very few shots more than 15 yards downfield. It just felt like Frost and Troy Walters just don't trust Martinez to pass, or the offensive line to protect him long enough to pass
or
the
Martinez
ball downfield for the most part. Oh yeah, Martinez doesn't. It's just a weird combination, and it's just really frustrating. That game was frustrating. We were really conservative on 3rd downs as well. Again, we didn't want to turn the ball over, and that to be the reason why we lost the game. But at the same time, man, like, you got to take at least a few chances to open up this defense because we couldn't run the ball.
We haven't been taking shots downfield at J.D. Spielman, our most dynamic wide receiver, who, by the way, gets open multiple times downfield. I think the biggest and most disappointing play for Martinez, and, you know, the crowd saw it, is Martinez had multiple options on a 3rd and 4. Martinez, he could have just ran the ball.
Yeah, there was a gap there in the middle. And then, I mean, Stoll was coming across the middle as well. He could have zipped that ball in. I mean, when you're watching, like, the NFL, that's an easy first down for an NFL quarterback. He zipped that ball in to Stoll in the middle. Easy first down. Not to mention, JD was wide open downfield.
Which has happened multiple times this year, to be fair, on some of those rollout plays where JD gets open and the crowd sighs and grunts because he's wide open, and it's like, how did you? And
Martinez is getting hit, or he just doesn't see him, something like that.
Yeah.
And in this situation, Martinez could have stepped into the throw while rolling out and try to hit him downfield, which would have been a really fun option. But instead, he just keeps rolling right. I mean, Martinez didn't play like a horrible game in the first few quarters. A lot of the problems were the offensive line, and there were a few drop passes. But I mean, he did miss a few balls. Yeah, there was
some drop passes. That's a good point.
Yeah, but just overall, it's just inexplainable why we're so conservative in parts of the game where it felt like we had the wind at our back. We had a little bit of room to make some plays downfield. I thought we'd take some shots at some point with the wind at our back. JD downfield, like, worst case scenario, you overthrow him. But we just didn't. I want to have the confidence in our offense to be able to do that. And it's just so surprising that Frost doesn't take those shots downfield. When it comes like the quarterback situation / play calling, Scott Frost keeps, doubling down on his belief in Adrian Martinez, in Martinez's ability and the faith that Scott Frost has in him. That's why I just don't understand the play calling where it's just so conservative. It just feels like he doesn't have faith in Adrian Martinez.
It's
like the
his
actions
words
are speaking
do not
louder than the
represent
words.
The actions. I really agree.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like, if he keeps doubling down every press conference, he says Martinez is the guy. I believe in Martinez. Adrian's going to turn this thing around. Like, Martinez is going to make the plays. He's the guy that's going to lead us to wins. But then you don't let him take any shots downfield. You don't give him any opportunity to roll out and throw downfield.
The same reason in the Colorado game, you say we didn't want him to throw an interception in overtime. Like, those things, like, and that just keeps popping up. We get a lead, we play conservative, we allow the team back in it, we're on our toes, and we're having to make a comeback. It's been a vicious cycle, and you're totally right, Josh. I mean, why aren't we trusting our offense to run the offense?
The flip side of the coin is that if you do trust him and then he throws 3 picks, I'm sure that's what some of you guys were thinking out there. Like, if you do trust him, like, you let him throw it against Ohio State, but of course we were down, we had to throw the ball. That is the flip side of the coin. Is you let it, you do trust him, and then he throws 3 picks.
We weren't playing against first round.
That's what I'm saying. We're playing against a very beatable secondary. So again, that's where I question Frost's coach talk, is when he's saying this in the press conference, but he's not calling the plays to allow Martinez to be the guy.
Like 3rd and 11, where we run a quarterback draw.
Yeah, or a read option.
Yeah, it's 3rd and 11. You have to throw the ball. Unless you make the perfect Ohio State call because we were in a bad defensive set and they saw the weakness, which clearly wasn't the case because Martinez got smothered. You have to be able to, and willing and confident in your quarterback to make those plays. Like, you're not giving yourself, that's one of the reasons why our percentage is so low. We're not trusting Adrian Martinez to make those throws, which like, how are you supposed to win games?
I mean, we're probably going to dive into it full on, like tomorrow night or tomorrow on Wednesday with the Minnesota video. There's going to be, inevitably, Martinez versus Vedral starting quarterback debate this week. I know for some people it's only about the injury. I know for some people it's all about the talent and the upside of the offense and the actual production of the offense. But we're going to talk about all of that in the Minnesota video. In this video, we're more just breaking down what actually happened against Northwestern and why this was a close game.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, Vedral played fairly well. I mean, he looked competent. He did basically everything that Martinez has been doing. He got the points that were needed to win the game.
Yeah, I mean, he came in cold and had a great drive, made really heads-up plays, very high-Q plays to win us the game. He had the winning drive.
Yeah.
And, I think the most telling thing, which is super confusing to me, is Scott Frost, when he called that play to Wan'Dale with the big catch, the one that set up the field goal.
Yeah, the catch, right?
Yeah, the catch of the game. Scott Frost said that play wasn't in the playbook, but Vedral knew it. And so I told him to call it because I trusted that he could run that play.
Yeah, so that's so weird.
Which is so, that's a bold thing again.
Why would you say, that's such an unusual statement from Scott Frost. Vedral is more competent in the playbook than Martinez. That's a weird thing to say for Scott Frost, who has been saying all these weeks that Martinez is the guy.
It also says, our scheme is what's going to win us, and we love running all these sets, and that's what sets us apart. And we're going to be able to run their spread super well. And that's really the debate is, Martinez, yes, we saw those great Patrick Mahomes plays where he threw it to Austin Allen, where he's throwing it on the run, side-arming it. And it's awesome. Josh was talking about it earlier, just how Vedral, with only a few seconds left, the
nice little scramble to the right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He took the ball. He brought it down, and he took the ball and ran out of bounds with it with about 19 seconds left or whatever. It was just a smart NFL caliber play. You bring that ball down, you run to the sideline, you get 7 or 8 yards to give your kicker a little bit more room. A few plays later, the play was a call to the outside, but he sees the defender there, takes it right upfield immediately. Very decisive runner, runs straight upfield and gets a few more yards, calls timeout, sets up the field goal, wins the game. So those were some smart plays from Vedral. When you need the points, you get the points. And at least we know that we have a very competent backup in the case of Martinez, a serious Martinez injury. But there probably is some debate to be had about the starting job.
It's really weird. I just did not see this happening this season for us to even talk about.
I know, man. There's so much debate to be had. I mean, again, we'll be talking about, we'll really dive into the quarterback battle for the Minnesota game and who should be starting. Hopefully, maybe we'll be blessed with some injury update from Scott Frost. Highly unlikely, but you never know.
These guys, they don't budge an inch, Josh. We still don't know what's happened to Bear Pickering. We would never know what's happened to the quarterback.
No.
Send our predictions. We felt like we could blow this game wide open, and it didn't matter too bad if we were turning the ball down on, long passes because we were going to make mistakes too, and we just never got it into a game where they had to start really throwing the ball. Because if we put them in the position where they have to start pressing, that's where the turnovers are going to start happening. Aiden Smith was not great at throwing. Read options is what really was killing us and was allowing them to get drives. That and our special teams, which we'll talk about in a second.
It was weird. It felt like we were playing with way too much respect for Aiden Smith, on the outsides.
And we were playing into Northwestern's game plan. You know, they want to keep it low scoring. That's their best chance to win.
I don't understand.
If we put a touchdown or two on them, and we're a couple points away, and they have to start pressing, we're gonna start getting those turnovers.
I mean, both of us thought, like in our predictions video, like if we get them rolling and we get them behind, they have to start throwing the ball. That's where the mistakes come, and that's where you can blow open the game against a team like Northwestern, who wants to keep the game slow, low scoring, and beat you out on the ground. But we just couldn't get points on the board to force Northwestern to throw the ball. So Northwestern kept playing conservatively. We kept playing conservatively. It felt like neither team wanted to make that mistake to end of the game. I mean, luckily, the referees, were a little lenient with us at the end of the game there.
It was both ways, kind of shoddy calling at multiple times.
I mean, it was both ways. But at the end of the day, that PI or the interception could have easily been called for a PI. And they gave us the INT at the end of the game. Thank you, Lamar Jackson. But
it was going to OT anyway, which I guess would probably
for sure. And the rest don't want to be there for OT. No.
It's windy.
It's windy. I want to go home. But at the end of the day, like, I just don't understand why we just didn't force Aiden Smith to just test him at all. Like,
I loved in the first half when we ran those press coverage packages.
I'm surprised we didn't keep that up.
It was awesome. We were. Again, Northwestern's offensive line wasn't great. We were rushing him a few, and we did a good job at stopping the run too. It's where Cam Taylor is such a stud. Again, forced fumble, he gets picks. He's got a real nose for the ball. Just to allow him to play a little bit more free, just gives us a huge advantage, I think. And he wasn't able to do that. He was sitting really far back. Why are we worried about Northwestern on a deep ball? Like, they're not great. They can't get out there. They're inaccurate. Like, there was no good throws by them, like, more than 10 yards.
It was mostly, like, single high safety, but at the end of the day, it's like, we were playing them that single high safety, we were playing them pretty deep. I understand that's kind of how the base defense works, but at the end of the day, like,
I don't trust
with a team Northwestern, we can, I'll let Bootle, I'll let Lamar Jackson do whatever they want on the outside. Like, can we stop the QB runs on third down? Can we stop Drake Anderson on 2nd and 7? Like, let's let Lamar Jackson have a chance at a pick or, like, an INT in single coverage. Let Aiden Smith take a shot downfield. And again, they only took like 2 shots downfield the whole game, even though we were giving them a few opportunities.
Yeah, and they were not going to take him. And Fitzgerald probably would have been mad if he would have taken him anyway. I said earlier that I feel like the quarterback could run just enough where it was going to hurt us, and it really did. Prepared that well for that read option game, which Aiden Smith ran really well. He was making the right reads, too, to his credit. He wasn't very fast or dynamic by any means. I mean, he did have there was one good juke move. I'll give him that. But besides that, he wasn't too crazy. We should have really been able to get to them more. And really, another problem was our special teams. Yet again, our special teams. I talk about a dead horse. Our worst part of the ball, like even worse than our offense, we are getting penalties still. How are you going to allow Northwestern like 60 yards? And there was a red freaking sea open for him to run through. It was
let him
ridiculous.
Right back in the game, I mean, you give him that
exactly.
They
were
field position
totally out of
the
it.
Field.
If you let our defense operate with space, they're going to bend, not break here.
Giving up those yardage on special teams allows Northwestern to play their conservative, slow, on-the-ground game that they want to play. And we kept playing that into their hands over and over and over, which allowed
giving them field position,
the inferior team to stick in the round.
And then also, when we do stop them, then our offense isn't able to move the ball, so then we're giving them favorable punt field position. In the game of field position, we just lost on multiple downs.
Especially in the
special teams really, really needs to step it up. It is really bad. It is hurting us. It hurts against Ohio. It's hurt us in every single game this year, and it's been really frustrating to continue to see sloppiness, penalties, missed blockings, blocking the backs, offsides, and this all continues. I don't think anything makes me more upset as a Husker fan to just see how incapable our special teams is, and it's really frustrating, getting on my nerves, and something that needs to be fixed now. We're halfway through the season, and these sloppy mistakes are still happening on special teams.
It's rough.
It's not good at all, and it's something that really needs to be addressed.
It's going to bite us again if we keep having these problems. I 100% agree, and something major needs to be changed for sure. I don't know how I feel about the win. Good programs, they find the way to win these types of games, these close, struggling games. I know people were comparing it, like, in a sense to, like, Clemson. Should they really struggle against North Carolina? No, but they did in that game, but they found a way to win. It's kind of that same narrative. Does it mean that we have absolutely no chance to compete against Wisconsin? Probably not. It doesn't mean that's a for sure loss, but At the same time, I can't be more confident after this game, and
No.
it leaves a kind of a bad feeling in my stomach for the rest of the season. Barely beating a team like Northwestern.
Same. I mean, we've scored 20 points in the last 2 games against competent defenses. You know, the first 2 we've really seen. You know, that's not great. Last year we were a better offense than that, and this offensive line has really stalled things. We saw that in Vedral's drive too, by the way. High snaps, hard to handle, throws off the timing,
literally
bad blocking. We saw all of that encompassed in Vedral's drive too, and that was a lot for even him to handle. Kudos to him though for making that to pick up that ball and throw it out of bounds.
The fumble. Oh
that
my
was,
goodness.
That was quality.
Yeah, it was cool at the end of the day to see, you know, homegrown Nebraskans kind of win the game for us with Vedral and McCollum making those plays. You know, we'll see how that impacts, like, you know, the state of Nebraska and the team as a whole. At the end of the day, a game like this, a win like this, imagine the narrative if we lost the game. It would be devastating. I think Nebraska fans would be in riot right now. It'd be a rough time for Nebraska fans if we would have lost that game to Northwestern at home against a bad Northwestern team. Even with the injuries excuse and no Khalil Davis, you know, and all those types of things. Like, obviously, those are excuses and reasons for why we could have struggled in the game as a whole, Maurice Washington and everything else. But at the end of the day, we got the win. We're alive for another week. And Minnesota is going to be a very, very, very important game for Nebraska season moving forward.
Guys, let us know what you guys thought of the win. It was nerve-wracking for sure. I was, again, not expecting such a heart attack, but here we are as Nebraska fans. What's new? It is always a 3.5-hour roller coaster, and you just gotta be used to it at this point. You know, take your heart medication because I feel like that's how I'm gonna go out at this point. but we love to hear what you guys had to say. What do you guys think about the quarterback situation? Very, very interesting and
a spicy one.
I can't blame you really either way you see it at this point, and it's all up to the coaches at the end of the day.
That's the thing. There's a big difference between what we think should happen and what will happen, and this could definitely be one of those situations.
So let us know down what you think. Are we gonna beat Minnesota this week? Of course we are. That's exactly right. Comment section. We are gonna win. As always, love to hear what you guys have to say. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. Like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. Do all those things because I told you so. You're definitely going to do it now. As always, I'm Caleb. That's Josh. This has been Backseat Sports, and we'll see you next video.
See ya.